Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode on Spotify. My name is Chad. In the first episode, we talked about what the motivation of this podcast is in general, what topics we will be covering, and about my background. And we left off with when I announced that I was going through some big plans or changes aiming for Australia. Remember, I was in Ireland for a year working for an American tech company, and let's jump right in. I've been eager for the past 2-3 years to go to Australia, check it out, not just vacation but also see how life is there. And before the pandemic, I actually had a working holiday visa giving me the right to go for a year and work in Australia with different employers and just see how things go, basically. Only restriction being you can work for one employer for 6 months, and if you go beyond, you need a grant from the government of Australia. And otherwise you're free to go to Sydney, Melbourne or Perth or other cities in Australia. So with the pandemic, I couldn't go because Australia had a complete shutdown. It didn't let people in or out. So imagine if you were there, you would have been stuck like some others. And after the pandemic started, I started a master's in finance in Germany and tried to go to the partner school in Australia, which is at the Sunshine Coast. It's called Sunshine Coast, and it's also a sunny place. It's up north along the east coast if you go north. But the school back then didn't take any people in due to the pandemic. So my second try didn't go smoothly, let's say. And then later I started a master's in management. If you remember from the first episode, I did the SAMS International Management Program. SAMS standing for Cooperation of European Management Schools. It was the idea initially, but it also spans schools from Australia, like Sydney Business School, or a school from the US, like Cornell University, which is Ivy League. And so it's a global program. So I started this master's eventually later and tried to go with this program. It was a 1-year program I had. I tried to go to Sydney Business School, but due to some things, schools are being ranked, and sometimes if you come first into the program, you get assigned seats depending on the school sooner. Things didn't work out also. Yeah, that's the short answer. So I tried. Well, it was 3 tries basically with that, and then I started working in Ireland and was more than a year in Dublin. Wanted to see how things go, and Dublin is a fun place. Socially it's very rewarding and people are open-minded, they like socializing. The city is not too big and not too small either, so it's a perfect mix. More on this maybe another time, but and after being there some time, and I tried now to see, okay, could I maybe transition to Australia with the same company? How are things from the distance? I tried also doing some applications from the distance, whether it be a full-time or internships, because I had the student status in Germany, for instance. But the short answer is Australia is there's a 10-hour difference from Central Europe or Ireland to Sydney and Melbourne, so it doesn't make applications easy. And if people see a European address or a non-Australian number, your chances are quite low. And also and the other thing is, you cannot just jump in a plane and try it out, it's 20-hour flight plus minus. So it needed some preparation. So I tried to transition with my company, but it seemed for the role I was doing, a sponsorship was quite tough. I talked to some people at the company, and eventually I decided for myself, okay, this is a plan I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I gained some experience here in Ireland within the role doing business development. So I just took a leap of faith. Like I said, okay, this time I'm gonna follow my intuition, because in the past, many times, I was always like doing things maybe because the CV would tell you to, kinda. I mean, the way you took with school early on, the programs you did, you know, like you know what I mean. And then I said, okay, no, like I'm gonna give myself the time and just try it out, because I really wanna go there. Okay, why do I really wanna go there? People ask me, okay, well, why do you wanna do Australia? It's super far. It's, well, across the globe. True. I was early on. I did a high school year in the US. I was in California. And my own brother, he also did a similar program. He was at the East Coast, and one of my cousins, he was, well, in the Midwest of the US doing a similar program. I also talked to a lot of people who were in Australia, and the thing is, I always wanted to go to a sunny place, you know, for me, weather is super important, and also like that the cities or environments are quite social. So this was very true in California, obviously. And ever since then, I've been working on my English, working on my CV, trying to build up to come to that point. But with some things taking different developments, like socially, economically, politically in California, for instance. The US is a big place, remember 50 states, and California is one. But with things like changing in California and talking to people, I said, okay, I would be actually interested also in seeing how Australia is. And like my cousin who's been to the US has also been to Australia, for instance. And he was only telling good things about it, you know. And I had some friends who did a working holiday year in Australia already a few years back. They only had good things to say. Then I talked to other people in Ireland who were from Australia, or who knew someone who was there, you know. To be honest, like there were not many people who were saying anything negative about it. So, and I said, okay, I don't know, it just makes sense. It's a sunny place. Economically, it's stable compared to other countries. Politically, I would say it's stable. Other people might say something else. And in terms of security, safety, I mean, it's also good, you know. And so I said, why not give this a chance? And this was a reason I decided to do a working holiday year. And with that I couldn't even transition with the company either. The pandemic passed eventually, and the Australian government said to people like me, hey, you either get your money back, and it was quite substantial, or you can apply for free. And that's what I did. And then time was ticking. The government gives you 1 year to enter the country, and then the visa will be valid 1 year. So that being said, eventually I decided to move out of Ireland, Dublin, booked a flight from Dublin to Sydney, and let me tell you, there's no direct flights to Sydney if you're coming from Europe. It's usually with stopover in Abu Dhabi or Singapore, and I had a ticket with a stopover in Abu Dhabi. So basically I decided to fly on Christmas Day last year, 2023, to Australia, and without too much of a plan, just like get things started in Sydney itself, because I thought, okay, I'm gonna take the flexibility and see how it is, and not plan too much ahead. From the distance it's tough anyway. And on Christmas Day I started my journey. It was a long flight, obviously, 2 flights, and I arrived in Sydney on the 25th, and I booked, before going, I booked a hostel. And let me tell you this, hostels are not, I don't know, I think they were cheaper 5 years ago. They're definitely not cheap anymore. And yeah, so then my hostel experience started, and we will be looking into some experiences in that regard within the next episode. But this is on the reasons why I decided to do a jump to Australia. And I think it's quite exciting for some of you or many of you, because people sometimes don't even dare to make a jump to a neighboring country or even a city in the same country but on the other side, you know, like we are stuck in our comfort zones, stuck in circles of friends. Sounds wrong if you phrase it like this, but like yeah, and that's also fine, you know, like people are just different. If people want to stay in a certain place, that's good. If people want to keep seeing what's out there, then that's also fine. Yep, I hope you enjoyed the second episode, and I will be trying gradually to push more episodes here with you, along with my social media presence on Instagram, because I think this gives a different glimpse, perception of things, you know, like on videos you see some imagery, you see some scenes, you hear some music, but with this you are really just focusing on the content, on the actual content, no distractions, you know. And I think this is a nice addition to the whole package of this contemplation and culture and travel and other things we will focus on. Thanks for tuning in.